Previously on Kingdom Come Deliverance.
There are people here looking for really tough men, and I'd say you fit the bill. So when you walk through town this evening, if there's a light in the church, go in and wait a while. If they like the looks of you, they might give you some work.
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Then.
What?
So, you've been looking for us, eh? What is it you want? Spare me the boasting. I've got a test ready for you. Let's see how you handle it before you tell us how wonderful you are.
What test?
Nah, not theft. If you want to join us, you have to kill Pious.
I'm Carl. I'm supposed to enter as a novice.
We expected you sooner. Weren't you supposed to come here with your guardian? It's been so hectic lately, people will keep turning up out of the blue.
He gave me the papers and left me at the gate. You must be used to that, though. I'm not the first novice here, am I?
Well, that wasn't very considerate of him, was it? It's been so hectic here lately, novices arriving one after the other. The last one didn't even have a letter, and you'd think his backside was on fire, the way he kept looking over his shoulder.
You took him without the letter? You didn't find that suspicious?
My guess is he wanted to hide from someone. But he's a priest and knows how things work in the monastery, so there was nothing to prevent him from being accepted, at least temporarily. You're a different case, though. Are you able to read?
Naturally. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So then, are you ready to enter the Order of St. Benedict and renounce forever the temptations of this world?
I am.
Then you must rid yourself of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance. Take care now.
Strange feeling being without all of that. I didn't realise how much I'd grown used to it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum, et vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum
Eloquium tum et vivam.
in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
It was my choice. For a common lad like me, it's the easiest way to get an education and do something worthwhile with my life.
It looks like we're both here for the same reason. I think we'll get along.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now.
Salve, be well.
Expanded,
This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
More like infuriating. A horrible, abominable waste of parchment. Young people have...
Who would you choose as the new abbot if you could?
Why should I even think about that when I don't have the right to vote? Gregor, don't go poking your nose into other people's business. You'll sleep better at night.
God be with you.
Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren. And above us monks are the prior and the circators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This the library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You, too, will learn how. And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlashim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother, and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
It occurred to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks? You surprise me, brother. And you, a nobleman's son. But you could ask Brother Salarius. They say he used to be a thief.
I'd like to ask you something. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Aha, Gregor, talk to me.
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lock picks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Just for fun. Pull the other one, brother. It's got bells on. Anyway, you're back.
Go away. Novices aren't allowed here.
My joints started aching just before they raised scallots, and now they hurt again. But worse than last time. I tell you, something is going to happen out there.
You might be wrong, and besides, God will be our protector.
I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm a circator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
And when it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always travelling on top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Well, then we elect a new one.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world, beyond the monastery walls, is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the ruler's changed, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged throughout the ages.
You're right. It stunk like a wine barrel in there.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
And what can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You've everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight, so no one can get in or out.
About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
Things will get worse. I can feel it in my joints.
The things you say.
My joints started aching.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
I'd like to help you if I can.
There is something you could do. I am convinced Nevlas must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water and drinking wine, for example.
So I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevlas is too cunning and careful to give anything away.
Once I find something out, I'll tell you. Thank you for answering. What did you want me to do?
Dig up some dirt on Nevlas and tell me about it. If he's discredited in front of the others, he has no chance of even standing as a candidate.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Something is going to happen out there. You might be wrong. And besides...
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
My joints started aching just before they raised scallops, and now they hurt again.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself. Especially the part about the coin.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
I'll leave you be. Don't worry, I won't follow you again.
Thank you. And please, Gregor, don't mention it to anyone.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with, of course, the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
That's all. Thanks.
Someone really reeked at Matins.
You're right.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
God be with you.
Gregor, talk to me.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrels right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
The old abbot is practically on his deathbed. There are two candidates. Half the monastery wants John, the other half Nevlas, and there's no chance they'll come to an agreement. but you've probably already noticed the atmosphere around here.
Tell me about John.
John is the circator and the oldest brother here. It would be only natural if he took the crozier from Peter. He has experience, merit, and composure. He'd lead the monastery wisely.
I'd like to know about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He doesn't have the most experience, but his drive and heart are pure, his faith firm, and his ideas rational. Although perhaps he's too keen to change our routines here, which many brothers don't like.
I thought politics weren't part of the monastic way of life.
You're right, but we know nothing besides the monastery, and the abbot's decisions can influence our entire life. Some of the brothers take it very personally.
Brother? You were somewhere you shouldn't have been. Don't you know your place? Don't you know where you're permitted to enter and where your presence is forbidden?
Very well, brother. I accept my punishment.
Now, show me what you have on you. I must confiscate anything that is not allowed in the monastery.
While I was locked up, someone was making quite a racket in the cellar. Blind drunk, I'm sure of it. I wonder what's been going on.
Can't you see we're at Mass? Can't you see we're at Mass?
Salve. Be well.
Intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray a confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better, But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
6 hours in sacred reading. To that end, we think that the times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October. When they come out from prime in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to reading. After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence. Or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until Vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it as a divine command and cannot suffer any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay, lukewarmness, grumbling, or objection. For the obedience given to superiors is given to God. For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily
What troubles you?
but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the command,
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior and the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, and many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the circators. They're the ones who maintain discipline and punish bad behavior.
I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples were taught to be silent and listen. For that reason, if anything has to be
These
asked,
novices,
it should
I
be
pull
asked
those idols by the
humility
ears.
and
What
submission,
have they done to you?
inspired by reverence.
They're shirking their
But as for
responsibility,
coarse jests
leaving
and
us,
idle
their
words,
superiors,
words
to
that
chase
move to
around after
laughter,
them, finishing
these
what
we
they
condemn
don't.
everywhere
But
with
you
a
have to do
perpetual
someone's
ban.
reading in the garden again.
And for such
Yet
conversation,
again,
not permit
I've had enough of it.
to open his mouth.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'm looking for something a little unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I need to get some wine.
You're not the only one. But I have to keep records of all the casks, and the prior checks on them. He'd notice any loss straight away. Just like our food, everything's rationed. So I'm sorry, but I'll have to disappoint you, brother.
Oh, nothing really, come to think of it. I'd like to ask...
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Credo in un Deum, Patrem omnipotentum, Creatorem, Filii et Spiritus. Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices. Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
Is there anything I could help with?
You know, there is. Perhaps you've heard that Abbot Peter is gravely ill. I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
What do you need me for?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now, you know, most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Celerius could help.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Celerius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Nevillus, vote for Nevillus"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent, John.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother, just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
What do you want me to find out?
I'd be interested to hear about any iniquity in the monastery. I need to prepare myself for what I'll be facing.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
What would you like?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. I'm interested in the monastery's history.
It was founded by St. Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time, but then the order was restored and brothers of the true faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals in a language foreign to God. They were driven away and their books burned. Ah, Gregor.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
I've no idea. Why don't you ask Brother Librarian?
Don't move a muscle.
I'm here to work.
Good.
This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it.
Brother? What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be working somewhere? Idle hands are the devil's workshop.
I had other affairs that needed to be attended to immediately. It will never happen again.
Brother? I'm sorry, but I don't believe you. This is your first warning. Don't do it again.
Salve. Not a single error. Quite a feat for a beginner.
What is it, brother?
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them.
I've heard about Avicenna's Book of Medicine. Could I see it?
Who told you about that? Of course you can't.
I've heard there are some forbidden books locked up in the library.
That's correct. They're here, safely hidden away from anyone who might be tempted to read them.
How does a book get on the forbidden list?
Forbidden works are full of heresy and blasphemy and witchcraft. If you ask me, we should burn them immediately, not archive them.
Could a book be prohibited by mistake? Maybe a good book or a useful one?
No errors are made. Every book on the prohibited list is there for a reason. Who am I to doubt the wisdom of Mother Church?
What if I just wanted to take a peek? Could I?
You could not. They are libri prohibiti, and the only people permitted access to them are the abbot and I. although I see no reason why he or I would ever want to read them.
Not even if I were to beg or promise a favour in return?
If you could prove to me that you truly like books, then maybe.
I don't need to hear anything else.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
It appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all 10 pages, I'll be most grateful.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere, from the garden to the refectory.
Can you tell me something about the book?
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace so much about it, but as I was saying, he considered the book to be immoral and tore it up to stop it corrupting any of his brothers.
The forbidden books must be in that
What's
cabinet.
inside? Forbidden books, written by the devil himself. Forget about them. Talk to me, brother.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know, but I've no time for idle chat. I transcribe books from dawn till dusk. I've been doing it for years, and I'll be doing it till the day I die.
What, you do nothing else?
It is my penance and my blessing. And now, brother, if you don't mind, I'd like to get this page finished. You're interested in what's inside? Forbidden books, written by the devil himself. Forget about them.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I found a few pages of the torn-up book, but I still don't have them all.
Wonderful. Keep looking then. I'm sure you can find the rest.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Tell me something about life here.
Prayer, work, obedience. That just about sums it up. God be with you.
What troubles you?
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I'm a new brother, a novice, Gregor. I don't know my way around here yet. You're in charge of the whole monastery, aren't you?
Welcome amongst us. Yes. The Lord wanted me to take over the abbot's duties in his absence, but mainly I'm a servant of God, just like you and all the other brethren. Before God, there's no difference between us. How do you like it here?
It's wonderful here.
I'm glad to hear it. May your enthusiasm last.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Will you tell me something about how the abbot is elected?
Of course. Abbot Peter is old, and we're afraid he'll soon be with our Heavenly Father. When he's gone, someone else will have to lead the monastery. All the elder brothers will assemble to choose who that is.
Anyone can become the abbot?
Precisely. We have two candidates, Nevlas and John. As the spiritual shepherd of all of the brothers here, I'm not allowed to publicly express a preference for either. And as a novice, you shouldn't be involved in the election. I know that some brothers have already begun scheming, but don't even think about getting mixed up in it. With the blessing of the Holy Spirit, all will end up as it should be.
Sin, make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence so abhors, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be good.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
For it is written, much sin will not escape sin. And in another place,
I'm interested in the other novices. Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery, and I came here to look for him.
Ha! I knew it! He's a villain. Who are you, though? Oh, it's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always safer not to ask.
Never mind that. Who's a villain?
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense. He's a criminal fleeing justice.
You mean he's not going to morning prayers?
So you noticed that too?
Actually, you could be right.
I think when you take a closer look at Siskin, you'll find he's the one you're looking for.
You've got the wrong end of the stick.
You think so?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
What are you going...
I don't know yet.
You should talk to the Circators or the Prior about it, not act on your own.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all.
At the middle of the 8th hour, will them again do what work has to be done until Vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and for if the disciple obeys with ill will and burns, not necessarily with his lips but simply in his heart, then even though he fulfills the commands of yet his word not to be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring.
What is it, brother?
Gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmuring.
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
Be well.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'd like to ask about...
Can't you see I'm working? Don't even look at that cabinet. It contains forbidden books.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. I'm interested in Yodok.
What could interest you about him? He's a no-good rat. He'll turn you in for the price of a turnip. I'd bet my life that if he wasn't here, he'd be a cumin scout, bowing and scraping for a few groschen.
That doesn't sound too flattering.
It wasn't meant to. No matter what you do here, watch out for him. He's got his eye on everyone, and he'll rat on you for even the slightest of infractions.
That's all. Thanks.
What do you desire? Peace be with you, brothers.
You can't see. Rage longs to learn.
Tamburg garrison had to get reinforcements to beat them. There's wounded lying at Tamburg now, and plenty new graves in Ujit. But they cleared the wasp's nest good and proper.
If you say so. But I still reckon we haven't seen the last of it. That Sigismund is still on the rampage, attacking the nobles one by one across the land. And brigands are like weeds. Burn them down, and they just sprout up somewhere else. Have you heard they pillaged and torched old Colburn's farmstead? That's not the half of it. What about the attack on Murhayet? While the lords are dealing with one lot of marauders and Privoslavets, there's another bunch pillaging somewhere else.
It's stunk like a wine barrel in there, and it's not the first time.
Sigismund goes
It's a mystery, but one that will soon be solved.
Sure as the sun circles
It's a wonder the prior doesn't check.
You know how to lift a fellow's spirits.
Then he'd soon get his man.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Peace be with you, brother.
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all, except that he's not a stickler for rules.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Servus.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him, and I've never asked about him.
Are you joking? Don't you know anyone at all here?
Why should I?
I'd have thought you might want to know who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. I definitely do. In fact, I probably already know more about them than you do.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
Praise be our Lord Jesus.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
I'd like to ask you... Well, that's all.
Peace be with you.
Spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech. So much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since this spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, "In much speaking you will not escape sin," and in another place, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on the spirit of silence. Let us do what the prophet says. I said, "I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard." Even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, "In much speaking you will not escape sin." And in another place, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent and to listen.
What is it, brother?
The superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission.
He was stomping about like a bear.
That must have been Brother Sir Cater. He can't sleep and prays long into the night.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'd like to ask you some...
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. I want you to prepare 2 marigold decoctions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them.
Vade reto satana, non quam soade mihi vana, sum mala quelibas ipse venena bibas.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
What would you like?
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
Gregor, talk to me.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you.
Good work. I can see you have talent.
What is it, brother?
Gregor.
me!
What is it, brother?
I'd like to ask...
Praise be to Christ, brother.
Brother, I've a favour to ask, and I think you're the man to help me with it. Or you used to be, before you came here.
I see, so it's the dodgy sort of favour, is it?
Well, yes. I need to get hold of the keys to the monastery.
That won't be easy, I can tell you that straight off. The prior always keeps the keys close by him. So how exactly do you imagine I could help?
There's something else,
Brother.
I'm looking for...
And what?
I'm looking for...
Luck?
I'd like to practice...
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I'll trade them for food. Get...
Let's have a word about the...
Well, we can...
Satisfied?
That's too much. Aye.
Brother? Where were you during Mass? Don't tell me you didn't know that Holy Mass is the foundation on which your life here is built.
I definitely was there. I did come a little late, so perhaps no one noticed me.
Really? I'll pretend nothing happened, but this is the last time, brother. Brother? Is this a tavern? Are we at a dogfight? Violence does not belong here, as you well know. This is unforgivable.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to...
Very well, brother.
Now, show me what...
What troubles you?
What are you doing here?
Are you spying on me? Well, dear Gregor, I don't like that at all.
Hold your horses. I was passing by and saw you here.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
What kind of a book is it?
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. So I hid it to read later. It's the Necronomicon. Ghosts, demons, and invocations of powers beyond our world. Only it's written in a strange language that I can't really make sense of. All bara this and bara that. Who knows what it means? I tried to count the syllables, read the words backwards, but nothing. I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Oh, I'm not too sure what the prior or the cicada would say about a book like that. Actually, what anyone would say. It sounds quite prohibited.
Prejudice. But you're right, it is prohibited. For no good reason, though. Has knowledge ever done anybody any harm?
You're right. Knowledge should never be prohibited.
Oh, I'm glad you agree. Just take a look at the book. Maybe you'll be able to make some sense of it. I haven't grasped a single syllable. Just please don't tell anyone about the book. If the brothers learn that I took it from the library and hid it, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Our brothers' minds are closed to a thirst for knowledge.
Actually, I don't care. God save.
What would you like? Talk to me, brother.
I'd like to ask you something. I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. What can you tell me about Lucas?
It's a tricky situation with Lucas. No one really knows anything about him. I've tried so many times to talk to him, but he always backs away like a virgin on a wedding night.
That's all. Thanks.
In such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none be said rather early, at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned
Brother.
a task or craft of such a nature as
Where were you during Mass?
and at the same time not to overburden them.
I was feeling a bit queasy.
With excessive toil.
Brother,
Their weakness must be taken
save your
into
excuse.
consideration by the
This is your first warning.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called. and should know that to whom more is committed.
Ah, Gregor,
more
talk to me.
required. Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery.
I'd like to ask...
Let him not love one more than another.
Well, that's all.
Unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the faith
What troubles you?
The priest of silence. The well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first instance.
I've discovered something about the
I see.
Hard, proud, and disobedient character.
Brother Siskin is hiding treasure he owned before he became a monk.
It doesn't surprise me. It's not the first time that's happened, and it won't be the last. I wouldn't punish him, but you can talk to him about it. Perhaps God will guide him, and he'll gladly give up his mammon.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
Humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell, and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it as a divine command. Unless he amend and make satisfaction.
Peace be with you, brother.
Praise be to...
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I want you to prepare. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. What would you like?
I finished.
God be with you. What troubles you?
I'd like.
Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in terra pax hominibus bonet voluntatis.
What would you like?
I'm here to work.
Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in Agnus Dei.
Good work.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'd like to ask you... Well, that's all.
Talk to me, brother.
I found the...
A dagger? Why would anyone here be hiding a dagger?
That's everything.
Do you know who might have been hiding it?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Never mind. We'll find him.
The Rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on Humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than Christ, who, because of the holy service they have professed, and the fear of hell and the glory of life everlasting, as soon as anything has been ordered by the superior, receive it as a divine command and cannot suffer any delay in executing it. But this very obedience will be acceptable to God and pleasing to men only if what is commanded is done without...
What do you desire?
Delay, lukewarmness...
I'm interested in...
...grumbling or objection.
I'm interested in Lucas.
Given to superior...
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all.
Yet his work will not be acceptable to God, who sees that his heart is murmuring, and far from gaining a reward for such work as this, he will incur the punishment due to murmurers, unless he amend and make satisfaction. The Rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the spiritual side. Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me. I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
Someone whose job it is to investigate the case, find the perpetrators and make sure they get the punishment they deserve.
Punishment? Do you intend to punish them here, in the monastery?
I don't know yet. I'm still just on their trail. Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident. Nor the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still, I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lukas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine. Don't fret, my friend.
Grumbling for the obedience given to superiors is given to God.
What is it, brother?
For if the disciple obeys with an ill will and murmurs, not necessarily.
Brother.
I see.
Well, yeah.
Could you take the...
Rob the prior?
You wouldn't be doing it for...
Then what could you possibly...
Will this do?
By the relics of Saint Procopius, where did you get all...
There you go.
Come back in a couple of days.
Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have kept silence even for good. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us... Death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master.